So good day, everyone. My name is Mildred. I am your instructor for this course. Today we are going to look at the MySQL. We're going to go from the basics and look at some basic concepts of MySQL. Last week we introduced MySQL. I gave you some resources to get along with your installations. For this class, I am not going to use my SQL Workbench for the purpose of students who are not able to install that and need an alternative to my SQL Workbench. So we're going to look at the alternative installation, and then we're going to work with the alternative since the pre-recorded videos already have examples using my SQL Workbench. So the first thing you will do for those who cannot install my SQL Workbench is I will share my screen and then I will illustrate what to do. Okay, so if you have issues installing my SQL Workbench, you want to use XAMPP server, and for that you want to go to, let's just type XAMPP server, download, and then you download the latest one for your operating system. So when you click on any of them for your operating system, this will download XAMPP, and then you install the XAMPP server. Once it is installed on your system, you want to go to your installed apps. For me, it's Mac, and if I come to my apps, I'll see where XAMPP is installed. I'll click on the control panel for XAMPP, and once that opens, I will try to make sure that all my servers are running. So I'm going to quit this manager and open it again. And once that is open, you go to manage servers and make sure that your MySQL database is running. So just want to start all servers here. If this is not started, you will not have your database running. So this is the replacement installation that you need. Once this is running, then you can come to your browser, type localhost/phpMyAdmin like this, and you have another SQL portal to use that is not MySQL. This is more friendly. It's just that this is more suited for people who are developing web app, need a server to use PHP and MySQL at the back end. So this is an alternative you can use if you have problems with MySQL server. MySQL Workbench also, it runs by default on port 3306, same as this. So you can't have both installation on your system. One will work and the other will not work. So it's going to conflict, except if you go to settings and try to change the ports from which each of them operates. And you don't want to go through those processes. So you want to have one of each of them for your work. So we're going to use this phpMyAdmin for our live classes, since the pre-recorded videos have examples using MySQL Workbench, so that both the people who use either will be able to follow on in the class. Now, once you are here, by default, you don't have secular database here, but I already have it installed. But how to install that is you head over to dev.mysql.com and you will look for example databases and look for where you find secular database and download the zip file, extract the zip file, and once extracted, if you come to the folder, you will find these three files. You want to first of all open secularschema.sql, copy everything in it, and once copied, let's just do an example. You copy everything from there.
You can't see your screen.
You can't see my screen?
Yes.
Hold on, let me see. Maybe I'll stop share and share again.
I think it's our connection, sorry, because I see your screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can see it too. I was wondering.
Oh, okay. So maybe it was our connection. All right, so let me reshare. Can you see it now, Pascalina?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so can everybody see the screen properly now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So once you have extracted the folder, it's going to come here and you're going to find two major files you need. The first one is secularschema.sql. You want to open that. It will open with your text editor. Just copy everything. Go back to where you have your local host open. Make sure no database is selected. Click on MySQL tab and just paste everything you copied. Once you paste it, make sure you uncheck this enable foreign key checks. Now, secular database is outdated in a lot of things, and there's going to be a lot of errors, but I chose to use this for example for this course, so that we can look at how to maneuver certain things. The other ones are easier than this. So when you uncheck enable foreign key checks, you click on go. I already have it installed, so I'm not going to do that. Once that is done, ignore any error you see there and just go back to that file, look for seculardata.sql, copy everything again, and then you come back here, the same SQL tab, and you paste the code you've just copied. Make sure you remove enable foreign key checks again, and then you click on go, and then you have your secular there with all the table and the data. And so that's how you're going to use the alternate to MySQL Workbench. Okay, so every time you come, we have secular here. The process is not the same with the installation or how it looks, but the whole code we are going to write is going to be exactly the same. I'm going to leave something in the resource for those to have an installation guide for people who want to use XAMPP server in place of MySQL Workbench. If you already have MySQL Workbench installed and you want to switch over, you have to uninstall MySQL Workbench for this to work properly on your system. Okay, so the first thing we want to look at is what is even a database to start with. And when we talk about a database, we just mean we want to have related information all grouped together. And for databases, we group these things in something we call tables, and they are arranged in rows and columns. So if you have an information of all the employees in the company, these are related information. You want to put all of the information about each employee on each row, and then they have columns where each of the columns have information about the first name of each employee, the last name of each employee, and things like that. And that is what we use the database to do. It's just a structured collection, and once we call it relational database, it just means it's a way of structuring related data together. We use the database management system like MySQL to be able to manipulate this data or to be able to work with this data. And when we use SQL, we use it in different ways. There we have the data control language, the data definition, data manipulation language, and the data query language that we use all within the MySQL. And as we go along, we are going to use all of these different types of query and different types of ways to use MySQL. Okay? So one of the first things you want to know when you start using SQL is the basic command you need to run for you to start. We have already created a database that we want to use, or we already have a database we're not creating. We already have a database that we are using here, which is the secular database. So on your SQL tab, you want to type something we call use, and use then the name of the database. Now the database name is secular. So we say use secular, which means that when we click on go, it will automatically select the secular database. Now we still say no database selected. This is phpMyAdmin, so you can just click on this here, but the command is use secular. If you are going to type other information, like insert query, and you want it to insert into the secular database, you start with use secular, so it knows what database it is working with, like this. If you're already on a database which is selected and it says database secular here, on MySQL Workbench, you only see it in bold that is the selected one. If you go to the pre-recorded videos, you will see it that way. You can say show tables to look at all the tables in the secular database, and this will display tables in the database. So these are some basic commands that you want to know. The way to select the database you want to work with. And if you want to look at all the tables that exist, you see show tables and you know the table names. When you want to look at the information in each table, then we begin to run select queries, which we are going to do shortly. Does anyone have a question before I move ahead? Okay, so every time you want to type anything in PHPMyAdmin, you always go to the SQL tab here. Now, one of the good habits you want to have when you are writing code or in programming is to always leave a note explaining to yourself or to others what it is you are doing there. Because it's a common occurrence, even for myself, to come back the following week and I forget, why did I write this code and what was I trying to achieve with this code? So you want to always leave a comment. And sometimes you want to test different portions of your code and you don't know what portion is causing errors. You might want to comment out some parts to exempt it from execution so that only other parts will run. And in MySQL, for you to write comments, you use the pound sign like this, and you can use the hash sign, number sign, and then you can write something to the end of the file. You can use 2- like this, and then anything you write to the end of the file, let's say this is a comment. To the end of the file is a comment, or you want to use a / and an asterisk, and you write this is a comment, and end with asterisk and /. So we have 3 ways of writing comments like this, and this will all be exempted from execution because you have told the system by using these 2 dashes, / asterisk, or the number sign or the pound sign to say that whatever you find here to the end of the line should not be acted upon. It's just a note I'm leaving to myself. And when you use / and asterisk, this will help for multi-line long comments where you end with asterisk and /, and this is just 2 minus signs, and when it gets to the end of the line, the comment terminates. And so this is how we write different comments in MySQL. Okay. So we said a database consists of tables. We have looked at all the tables that we have in the secular database. If we want to look at information in a particular table, let's say we want to get all of the information in the, let's use the customer table. We have a statement we use, and the syntax is select. We use an asterisk to indicate all. So select all from table name. The syntax is select all from the name of the table, like this. So you replace table name with the name of the table. If the table you want to select from is the actor table, select all from actor. If it's from the customer table, select all from customer. So it is not case sensitive, but you know, by convention, we use uppercase for SQL keywords and then lowercase for other stuff, so that it makes it neater and more readable. So when I say select all from customer and I click on go, it is going to give me all of the information, rows and columns of every customer in the table, or that the data is saved in the table. We can do the same thing for every single table for us to be able to inspect the different rows and columns in each table. For those who will move on to data analysis course, sometimes you always want to explore the different tables and look at what the rows and column and information holds, and start assessing which information is needed or important before you create other tables, views, or whatever you want from the columns of importance. But this is the basic query to look at all the information in a table. Now, this is not the only query you can run. You might decide you don't want to select everything, all the columns from the table. So you can say select column name. So now you name the column. In the customer table, we have a column called first name. So we want to select the first name column and the last name column from the customer table. And then we go. And then this time, we are not getting all the endless columns. We just get the first name and the last name alone from the customer table. So the two syntax we have to take note of is we use select asterisk sign to indicate select all columns from the table name. If you don't want to select all columns, then you list the columns you want. Select the name of each column as a comma separated list from the name of the table that you're selecting from. Okay? You can also decide that you don't want to select all the first name and the last name from the customers table, but you want to see, for instance, let's look for any name that appears twice. Let's try the actor table where we can have the same name twice. Let's say select all from actor. Let's inspect to see if we have the same name appear twice. So we have where we have last name of Bailey appearing twice. So let's try to filter our selection using the last name. So what we'll do here is to say select, let's say we want only the first name and the last name from the actor table. Now we use the where clause to give a condition. We want to get the first name and the last name from the actor table, but we don't want to get all the first name and the last name. We want to say where the last name is equal to, so we're giving it a condition. And what is the last name we want to look at? Bailey. So it is going to tell us or give us information to search the whole table to see if there are columns or if there are rows in the actor table where the last name of the person is Bailey. Give us all of those rows. That's what this means. And when we say go, it will give us the two names that have the last name of Bailey. Now, when we go into the software development part, you will see where this is comes in handy when you create an interface for search, and then you put in the name that you want the user to search, and then behind the scene it runs this query and gives the result to the front end, and you don't get to see all of these processes going on because they are back-end processes. Okay, any question?
Yeah, Mildred, I was just trying to follow up using the MySQL workbench.
Okay.
And I typed this, and as I select first name and last name, that's comma last name from actor, where last name is equal to Bailey. I purposely didn't put it in inverted commas, and I didn't get the response. So must I always, because if you look at the table, in the table proper, Bailey is not in inverted commas. So
okay, so that will bring us to when we go to data types. Now, for people who did course 1 and did JavaScript, we say strings. Anything that is not a number has to be quoted, either with single or double quotes. So if it's a string, you have to quote it like this. If it's not quoted, it is going to interpret it like a keyword. So it's either you are calling a column name or you're calling a table name. But if you want to specify a value, you have to quote it like this and end it with a semicolon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay, and it worked.
Any more questions?
Okay. The name you type in the query, when you're querying for the names in the column or the table, you use you didn't use the uppercases, right? What you have in the column or the table are uppercases, but use just capitals. Just the name Bailey starts with a capital.
Yes, it's not. So I said it's not case sensitive. Sometimes why we do it this way is for readability purpose. MySQL is not case sensitive. So even the things I wrote in uppercase here, even if I write it in lowercase, mixed case, Pascal case, snake case, they will still work.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So for readability, you want to have a neat code, and by convention, this is what you find how most developers will write. They write SQL keywords in uppercase, column names like this in lowercase, and values must be case insensitive because you don't know in advance how the case of the values are in the database. So it's not for most of the time, for most things, it's not case sensitive. When we get to a part where we have case sensitivity, those topics will tell us that this is a case sensitive kind of search. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So this brings us to the next thing. We have things we call operator. We already used one where we use the where clause, where we say where first name is equal to. Equal is an operator that we use to compare two things in MySQL. We have things like addition. Let's say the plus sign. One example I can give is to say something like select, let's say select 10 plus 10. This will just give us the addition of 10 and 10, which will give us 20 printed here. Now, let's look at another topic while we are doing this so we can be fast. I can say select 10 plus 10, but you see that when I do that, it gives me the name of the column in the result has 10 plus 10 and then the result 20. But this is not pretty. Let's say we want it to give it in a table and give us a proper column name. We're not going to say select 10 plus 10 like this. We're going to use something we call an alias. And we'll say select 10 plus 10 has total or something like that. And then when we run, I think we're supposed to, so we'll say select 10 plus 10 has total. So this can be uppercase or lowercase as we want it. But let me make it cleaner. So let's say select 10 plus 10 has total, and then we'll see that it renames the column as total. Every time we want to alias a name of the column, let's say you are putting an operation, use a has operator as an alias to give the column name a new name. So we can still apply the same thing to select. Let's use this alias for maybe one of the tables in the circular database so that we can see how this can work. So let's say select. We have other different kind of MySQL keywords and operators. I'll just use one we call concat just to illustrate. Let's say select concat. So concat means concatenate, right? So we want to look at the actor table that has first name and last name. So first name is like this. So we want to concatenate first name and last name, which means that we want the column to put both first name and last name in one column. So we'll say select concat first name and last name from, let's put it from the actor table like this. When I do this and I run, it will give me concat first name, last name, and give me the names like this. But you can see it puts the first name and last name without space between them. So this is where formatting will come in. You will do something like first name, comma, space. So you want to put a space using a quotation mark, empty quotation mark like this, comma, last name. And when you run this, it is going to give you the first name and last name in one column. But we don't like the column name. We want to put an alias for the column name. So we'll say select concat first name, last name, and then we'll say has. Let's give it a new name, full name. If we are going to make it more than one word, you quote it so that you don't make a mistake. But let's use camel case here as full name or snake case. So we'll say select concat first name, last name has full name. So we want the result column to be named full name like this. So we know how to use the has alias to be able to do this concatenation. Okay. So we can actually want to select something based on two conditions. Like we want to say where one condition is true or the other is true, or where both of them must be true, we have the and the or operator. So you have to go through your weekly lesson notes to get a detailed list of all the operators, but I'm going to go over them in this lesson to know how they are used, and then you practice trying each of them to see the results that you get. So let's say we want to look at another table. Let's say select all from, let's look at the film table, for instance. So I'm trying to use as many tables as possible so that we can see that the same operation will give us, if we want to get the same kind of results from different tables, the query remains the same. So we have everything from the film table. We can see everything that the film table has. It has the film ID, the title, the description, release year. We know what the information we have here. We want to say something like, we want to get the title, maybe the release year, and let's see, and the rating. Let's say these are the important information. We want the title of the movie, we want the year it was released, and we want to see the rating there, right? And we want to select this only when the release year is maybe 2006 and the rating is PG. So let's say we want to filter, or we are working for Netflix right now and we have a child account. So we want it to automatically look at the database, and on a children account, we want it to only display movies that are rated PG. Behind the scene, this is the kind of query that will run for it to display that on that child account. So we have select, we'll go back to the first line, select title. We want the title, we want the release year, and we want the rating from, and we want this from the film table, and we want a where clause where release year is equal to 2006, and we want two conditions to be true. So, and we want the rating to be equal to PG, parental guidance, like this. So we are selecting column names. So we list the names of the columns from the name of the table, where the condition now we want to use is the release year is 2006 and the rating is PG. So if one of these conditions, like these two conditions, if one of them is false, let's say the release year is not 2006, and even if the rating is PG, it is not going to give us any column. And means that both conditions must be true, must exist at once in one row for it to display. If we use or, then it means if any condition is true. So if the release year is 2006, but the rating is not PG, it will still display the rows that have release year of 2006. But when we use and, the release year must be 2006 and the rating must be PG for it to display the rows for you to see. And so when we click on go, it will give us this. So I put all of this for us to see that it only gives us movies that are released in 2006 and the ratings are PG. Is that clear for everybody?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's look at one other topic, like the joins. Join is a topic that can be a little confusing. It's not difficult, but it's confusing. So it's something you have to pay close attention to. So we can see, for instance, let's look at the tables that we can use here. Let's say I want to use the actor, the film, and the film actor tables. Let's look at what these tables hold. Let's select all from the film table to see. So on this film table, we have title, description, release year, but we have a film ID here. So we'll take note that the film table has a film ID. It has a title, it has a description. Let's say we want the film ID, title, description. Let's look at the actor table. So we'll select all from actor. The actor table has the actor ID, first name, last name. So now when you look at the actor table and you look at the film table, there's no way you will know which actor acted which film. They only have an actor ID column here. and the film table has a film ID column. So nothing joins these two tables together. But now there's a film actor table, which will likely join the two together. So let's just see, because of the name. So select all from film actor. Now it says the actor ID and the film ID. So, but the actor ID is not relevant. We know that this is a foreign key from another table, and the film ID is from another table. So which means that the film actor table is a table that gives us information that links the actor and the film table together. So let's say we want to create a new table or new query results where we want to get the actors' names, first name and last name. We want to get the film that actor acted in, the title and the description, and we want this film actor table to link the two tables together. So we'll get all the information about the actor and the actor's movies in one table result. And this is where we use joins. When we use joins in MySQL, we are able to get results from different tables into one table as a result. We have different types of joins. We have inner join. When you use inner join, you only want to get the matching values from both tables. We have left join, which means that you want to get all the records from the left table that has a matching record from the right table. If you have right join, you want to get all the records from the right table that has a matching column from the left table. And then we also want to have results from both tables. We'll use a cross join. So for our purpose now, we are going to be using the inner join. So we have to figure out a way to write this query where we get the information we want from the actor, get the information we want from the film, and then we use the film actor as the predicate to be able to link the two tables together to mix those two information in one table. The syntax for join is for you to write. Most of the time you can just join two tables, but when we are joining more than two tables, we want to alias them again. We still use the select statement. Let's say I want the actor table to be A. So I'll say A.first name. I'll use lowercase a. To select A.first name, A.last name. So in my head, A means the actor table. From the film table, I want that table to be called B. So I'll say B.title. I'll say B.description. These are the columns from those tables I want. And I want to also have the actor ID and the film ID, which are the two columns from the film actor table. I want the film actor table to be called C. So I'll say C.actor ID, and I'll say C.film ID. So this doesn't do anything. We've just aliased what we want. So the first thing we said is the actor is A. So now we'll use from. We want to say the table name now. We want MySQL to know what A is. From actor, A. So when we say from actor, so it now knows that actor is A. Then, because we want the matching columns from the left and the right table, so we'll say inner join. So we are selecting all of the columns we want from the different tables, aliasing them with ABC from the three different tables. From the first table name is actor. We say actor, A represents actor, so we say from actor A. Inner join. We want to join what? We want to join the film table. So inner join film, and we say film is B, right? Inner join film B. We have to join it on a common column. Now, both actor and the film should have something in common for us to be able to join them. But if we look at the actor and the film table, they have no column in common. But the actor and the film actor table have something in common. So let's keep B for now and use the C, the one that they have something in common. So we are selecting from actor A, inner join film actor C. On. When we use on, we are trying to tell it where it should join it on. So they must have a common column. And since the actor table and the film actor table both have an actor ID in common, we will say where we'll say on a.actor_id like this is equal to c.actor_id. So even if you have hundreds of tables, this is how you alias them and think about them. Sometimes you have to be thinking about it or even thinking it out while you write it. You'll make mistakes, you'll see if you get the correct result. Joins sometimes can be confusing, but it's not as complex as it looks. Now we've joined the actor A with the film actor C, but we also want to join B. So we'll say inner join. We want to join film B. So inner join film B on b.filmid is equal to, so we are joining B to c.filmid because C is the film actor that has the film ID column, c.filmid. So we have created a query that will get results from the 3 tables into one result. So let's see if this is even correct. And if it's correct, we'll get all the columns we want. We'll get first and last name from the actor, title and description of the movies of the actor from the film table. And because the film actor table that joins them, we're going to join that on the film actor table here. So we're going to go and then we have the results. Now, all of the actor ID 1 we'll see here belongs to one name here. So we know that this person acted Academy Dinosaur, acted Angel's Life, and we see 1. So when we see everybody with film actor ID 2 belongs to this person, and these are the movies from that person. So this is how we use join. So we know what the film ID is. Every time we see the film ID, if we take this to the film table, it will give us a title, but we already have the title and description here. We don't need the film ID. But I just did this to see how we can combine records from 3 tables to get one result. And so in your software development journey, you are going to use this a lot, especially for those doing data analysis and reporting, where you need to look at personal information tables, see who is a male or female in that table, look at the age table to see the age range of the person, and then try to get visualization for different age groups, for different kind of diseases or whatever it is that you are building your data for. You're going to be using a lot of views and a lot of joins. Joins is something you will always see in software development. Anybody with question? Anybody has questions? Nobody? Okay, so let's look at the last topic for the day, and this is how we sort data. Let's say let's look at the customer table, for instance. Select all from customer like this. So we have these names. They are not in any particular order. Let's say we want to sort them by first name in alphabetical order. We'll write our query like this. Select all from customer. To sort data in MySQL, we use a clause called order by, like this. Select all from customer, order by, let's say first name. The default is ascending, and so when you order by first name, it is going to be in ascending order, A, B, C. You can order that by more than one, order by first name and then last name. So to sort them in alphabetical order by first name and alphabetical order by last name. So we can see this. Since the default is ascending, you don't need to tell it it's ascending you want. But in the event where you want it to be in descending order, you will do select all from customer, order by first name, and then you put descending, D is like this. And then this time, it is going to put it in descending order from Z down. So this is how we sort. We use the order by clause. Ascending is default. You don't need to specify ascending. If you have to specify ascending, you use ASC, but you don't need to put ASC like this, but you don't need to specify that. And descending, DESC. Okay? So these are the contents for week 1 and 2. I'll advise you to go look at your resource and look at the different data types we have in MySQL. Try them out. Try different queries. Try to play around with the tables. Look at your assignment questions. It will help you very well. Do the queries across different tables and try to work on joins, particularly. Try to get data across 2 tables. Look at the customer table. Look at the address table. Try to see if you can put the address instead of the address ID from the customer, things like that. The more queries you write, the more perfect you become and the less confusing it will be in the future. So this is where this lesson ends, and I will see you all next week. If anyone has questions, you can ask now. Okay, in the absence of questions, I will share the recording by the end of the day. It will be on YouTube, and I'll post it on the chat room for you to see the link. So thank you, everyone, and see you next Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mildred.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,